Welcome to Soulpreneur Symposium, where I bring spiritual entrepreneurs, heart-led entrepreneurs all over the world who are here to share their spiritual gifts, to help us ascend to higher stages of consciousness, to help us live a truly aligned life. And today I have with me my wonderful friend Corey, who is a self-mastery and a human performance coach, who has been helping people from all over the world who are successful but has been experiencing the disconnect from their true self and has been wanting to come back to the alignment, to the harmony, to the peace once again. And he has helped so many people. And I'm super excited to know from Corey how he has been exactly doing that. So, hi, Corey, how are you doing? How are you doing?
I am well. Thank you so much for having me as your guest on your beautiful show, my friend. It is a delight and an honor to be with you today. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. We have talked about what you do. It's time to bring to the audience like how wonderful it has been a journey for you because you have been, I know, that somebody who has experienced the pain of misalignment yourself. You have felt,
Mhm.
what it feels to have success on a very, very, very grand scheme where everything is settled and everything, but that misalignment, that tug, that void, constantly keeps you telling that this is not it. Would you like to share how your journey has been?
For sure. Thank you. I've been, working as a coach and a guide now pretty much full time for almost 6 years, and then part time my whole life.
Wow.
But I left a big career in show business, almost 3 years ago now. I was touring with the seventh largest ballet company in the world as their prop master, designer, building, designing, making, touring, fixing, packing up in, Swan Lake, Sleeping Beauty, Nutcracker, all of the great big stories.
Wow.
And then, 10 years before that, I was working in opera. And then all along at the same time, I was doing big rock and roll and mo making movies, designing movies, all kinds of storytelling,
Mhm.
and I fell right into that pretty quickly. And I fell into show business as a young person, because I'm now 50, I'm almost 57, and so back when I was little, as a teenager, as a gay man growing up in America, I remember the first gay character on television, and so when I was little, I've often said I never came out of the closet because I never went in, and I just knew
Ah.
somehow that my sexuality was not a choice. God made me this way. But so I knew that I wasn't the problem, but I also knew that I was in a dangerous, dangerous world.
Mhm.
Because there was no good examples, there was no positive examples. It was all danger, it was all hateful and fearful, and
Yeah.
and religion, hellfire and damnation, all of those things. And so as a teenager, I knew being raised by a single mom without a lot of money, and I knew that the only path for me was to go to college. I had to go to college. I needed a good life. And the only safe place that I knew to go was show business, because I knew that there was artists and designers, fashion designers, set designers, famous performers. The only famous gay people I knew as a kid were gay people, famous gay people. And I thought, okay, that's a safe place for me to go. And I was playing by very different rules than anybody else that was there.
Mhm.
And I didn't know this till years later, because I went for survival. I
Mhm.
knew that it was the only safe place that I knew to go. I couldn't speak it in words back then when I was 17, 18, 25, even 30. I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I
Wow.
was there. And because it was survival, I always did really well. Because I just knew that no was not an option.
Mhm.
This was the only path I knew, and my spirit said yes. And it was fun. It was show business.
Yeah.
The curtains and the lights going out, and music and applause and art and beauty. And then we'd do another show. And I tell you, one of the best things I learned in that world of show business was manifesting on demand. And what do I mean by that? You know, in the world of show business, when you're a staff, you're on the team for an opening night, a new production of Swan Lake or Romeo and Juliet or whatever it is that we're doing. and the designer or the choreographer comes in with some crazy new idea.
Yeah.
We're going to do Romeo and Juliet in during World War II under the ocean on the moon and dressed as pirates. That's an extreme example, but
Yeah.
it's not our job to say no. You get
Right.
fired for that. It's our job to say how. And every opening night, 8 o'clock, the curtain goes out with all miracles in place,
Wow.
right? So if a whole bunch of people who don't even like each other, or maybe they do like each other, but they're working together,
Hmm.
right? We all have a job, and a lot of times there's discord, there's angry, there's disagreements, but especially under time and pressure and lack of money and no resources, and but the dream is big, and but sure enough, if a bunch of people who are not aligned spiritually can manifest on demand,
Hmm.
wow, this is a teachable skill,
Wow.
right? So I learned this, and I began to trust this.
Yes.
And then, of course, the artistic department would call and say, we want something ridiculous, that I've
Hmm.
never done before. Like we need a Chinese dragon by Friday at 4, or whatever it might be. You don't get to say no, you
Right.
get to say, I have this much time, this much resource, this much money. This is what I don't know. Here's the help that I need.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's take responsibility and speak it to the universe. All right. And then that's manifestation on demand. But because now, coming back to my story, it was great for a long time, but I ran into problems. I ran into trouble there because
Hmm.
people always said, or you're dreaming too big, your energy's too bright, you're too much, people are scared by you, you're making other people feel
Oh.
small. Would you dim your light? Would you dim your light? Would you calm down? And I was
Oh.
like, what do you mean? This is show business. Like, what are you talking about? But other people were getting their feelings hurt, or they didn't feel like they had room to create around me, or whatever it was. It's like, okay. And then after many, many years and different jobs and different theater companies of being told the same thing, I began to believe that I was too big, too bright, too much. And my spirit
Right.
was dampened, right? And then it was all of a sudden, it's like, this is harder. The work became more difficult. It became hard to be creative on demand. The work
Hmm.
became heavy. The people around me became more difficult. And my spirit was starving to death,
Hmm.
because I wasn't in the right place. From here, looking backwards, I can see that my spirit was knocking on my back door, saying, Cory, you've outgrown this. It's time to go. It's time to do something else. It's time to go elsewhere. But my friend, I didn't have a dream beyond that. I thought I'd made it. I'm touring the world. I'm playing the King's Theater in Edinburgh. I got my name on the wall at the Kennedy Center in Washington, D.C.
Oh
I'm
my goodness.
standing ovations. All of these things were happening for me. I'm like, what do you mean? I've got it made. What are you talking about? But my spirit kept cold. Knock, knock, knock. You've got somewhere to go. And the discord became heavier. The disconnect with my colleagues became heavier. And then I worked harder to stay there. And then I got sick. My
Hmm.
spirit finally started banging on the door saying, Cory, hey, man, you've got dreaming to do. You've got work to do. You have another mission. You've outgrown this. It's time to go. But still, I was like, la, 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 no, no, no. I'm staying right here. No, no, no. And I got sick, you know? And next thing you know, I go to the doctor. We can't figure out what's going on. I'm pulling an oxygen tank behind me, And all of a sudden I realized, wait a
Right.
minute. There is another voice inside me that's strong. My spirit's telling me to look elsewhere. And then that same day, I was really sick. I got a scholarship to go to college that I didn't even apply for. And this is
Hmm.
where it's like, hey, let's have an online business. And I'm like, computers? I went to school with a paintbrush. I have to learn computers. Whoa, what is this weird thing, technology? So I started going to school and I started to heal and I started to be united. And this coaching thing started to show up in my world again. And I remember like in my teenager in the 80s, I would remember seeing Tony Robbins on television when he was this skinny little guy doing his, just starting his business. And I was like, I like what you're doing, but somebody like me could never touch you. We don't
Oh.
have any money. We can't, it's like, okay, I like what you're doing, but I can't do I can't take your offer. I don't have any money. You
Yeah.
know what I
I
mean?
feel. Yeah.
So I kind of followed. I read the books, and then Marianne Williamson and Richard Bach's book Illusions, and then my mom got into metaphysics and spirituality,
Oh.
and we started listening, like cassette tapes in the car of all these spiritual workshops, and so I was being supported all along the way, but then
Wonderful.
finally it came time. It's like, all right, show business is not serving me,
Mm.
and the discord is too hard. Spirit's now saying, Corey, you have a new path. You have a new path. So I left show business. And I probably left sooner than I was ready to, especially financially. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this coaching thing, the healing thing, I'm going to start on this journey. But Spirit said, stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. And I was scared because it's like, well, I don't have a job. I don't have insurance anymore. I quit the job. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But something in me kept saying, stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. And one of those spiritual teachings is when spirit knocks on the door, there's
Mm.
three steps of shamanism or three steps of healing. And the first one is be decided, make a decision and stick to it. And that includes the belief that it is okay not to be okay. It's okay not to be okay because then we open curiosity.
Yeah.
We start to look beyond where we are. The pain of change becomes less than the pain of staying put. And the second
Mm.
step is follow and lead with your heart more powerfully than your mind.
Mhm.
Start leading and following this voice. And that was the spirit inside me saying, stay the course. And then that third step is stay the course because you will be challenged. Your old beliefs, your old ideas, your emotions, your old ecology, your old friends, your old lover, your parents, everything will question your expansion. So it's be decided, follow with your heart, and stay the course. And that's what got me here.
This is
Yeah.
profound. This is profound because, I think one of the main reason why, you know, I do Soulpreneur Symposium is to get this message out from people who are walking the path. Someone like you, who left the whole thing. It's a dream for somebody to have what you had
Mhm.
having your names out there written and is going to be written there on for history and what you did and a person like you who could manifest on demand to the point where other people were like they are feeling overwhelmed by your energy and yet you had to change course, come out of the whole thing. It takes a lot of true courage to do what you have done, right? And one of the main reasons why I do Soulpreneur Symposium is because I would like people who are on the spiritual path, who are about to make the jump, hear from people who have made the jump, what it took, because it's not an easy thing to let go of
No,
everything, to jump into complete uncertainty without knowing what is going to happen, because everybody thinking is that, you are just foolish to live all of that way. That makes no sense. It just makes no sense what you're doing, right? And yet,
mhm.
if you stayed there, you can't stay there because when spirit is asking, you cannot go anywhere. Like how you got sick. For me, it was the dark night of the soul. And like the way you made the jump, what would you like to say for those of us who are watching? What it takes for somebody to make the jump? What it took for you to make the jump?
Well, well, from here looking back, realizing that the spirit was knocking on the door first softly,
Yeah.
then a little more loudly, and then strongly, and then banging on the door. And then it threw me under the bus, because I couldn't hear it. My ego in my mind, my logical mind was like, but this is amazing. I have to fight for this. I can do this for the rest of my life. This is amazing. I've done what most people dream of doing. But at the same time, as I look back, I can see that my higher self, my super conscious, the best of me
Yeah.
that always wants to protect me was doing just that. It was protecting me every step of the way. It was saying, okay, Corey, this dream's come true. You've got another dream waiting to come true. And it was scary, but it's like, okay, how can we do this? How can we make that jump? First of all, let's welcome being uncomfortable.
Hmm.
Because when we're comfortable, we stay in the chair,
Yeah.
but it's also understanding what discomfort is. At first, it's not painful, it's just uncomfortable. It's your spirit knocking on the door. I love this word respect, or if we take it back to the Latin respectare, which means the willingness to look again. The
Hmm.
willingness to look again. Respect. I respect you enough to look again. I'm going to respect myself enough to stop, pause, and look again because there's
Yes.
always more. There's always more. And it's our fear and our scarcity that creates anxiety. And the anxiety, what is anxiety? It's investing all of your resources in an undesired outcome. Your time, your energy, your attention, your emotion, your money.
Makes
Say that
sense.
again. Your anxiety is nothing more than investing all of your resources in an undesired outcome. And we all know that when we're anxious, it is a pattern disruptor like nothing else.
Yeah.
But let's turn that coin over. What is the opposite? It's inspiration. And what is the definition of inspiration? Investing all of your resources in a desired outcome, which is our daydreams, our dreaming of tomorrow, which is our high vibration. This is the law of vibration, the law of attraction. This
Yeah.
is our intuition and our creativity and our dreamer saying, let's move forward. Let's look
Yes.
forward more powerfully than looking backward. Right. Right. And that's that switchcraft moment. This is where the healing happens, is when we stop looking backward and we start looking forward at least 80% of the time. Most of, I think, the world right now is in reaction. We're seeing that everywhere right now. The world is in reaction, and most people in the planet can instantly describe in vicious detail what is not working in the world and how it affects
Mhm.
them and what it feels like. But
Yes.
can you even more powerfully and even more detail with rich emotion tell me what you're dreaming about and how it affects
Wow.
you and the people nearest you, right? So
Wow.
this, I want to quote one of my mentors and heroes, Angeles Arian. She died maybe 10 years ago or so, give or take a little bit. She was a cultural anthropologist and folklorist. And one of her quotes was, the world can no longer afford to only describe what is broken, faded
Mm.
off with a pause, without prescribing the solutions for those things even more powerfully.
My goodness. Wow.
And I love these words, describing the problem in vicious detail,
Yeah.
we prescribing the solution like medicine.
My goodness. That is a paradigm shift right there. What you're
It's a
describing.
switchcraft moment. We stop reacting and we take our power back and we start creating. We can either react or create. We cannot do both at the same time.
No, we cannot. Wow.
And that's the foundation of my business and my coaching to say, let's find ourselves in the switchcraft moment when I am telling the stories of the past more powerfully than the stories of the future.
Yes.
Catch myself and practice telling the stories of my future. Let's engage the daydream. We're told in this world not to daydream. Our parents and their parents and our bosses and our culture have said to the world, don't daydream, focus, don't daydream, go to work, don't daydream, get your shit done, don't daydream, be responsible. But what could possibly be more important than daydreaming about your future? We manifest exactly what we think and feel about. So if we're only thinking
Wow.
and feeling about the stories of our past without the stories of our future, we're going to make more of those problems,
My goodness. That is so true.
right? And so here's that switchcraft moment. That switchcraft moment. We've all got dream work to do. So let's do
This is
some. Let's do some.
absolute. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. This brings
Mhm.
me to something we have had discussed before, which is something you mentioned that you deliberately teach your clients, during your coaching sessions, which is something you
Mhm.
call dream intending. right? Would you like to share what dream
Yes,
untending is about and how can it help somebody to manifest their heart's desires?
absolutely. You know, it is such an important thing, and especially because we are taught not to daydream.
Mhm.
And I want to give a shout out to our parents and our grandparents, because they were trying to keep us safe with the best
Yeah,
they knew how.
yeah,
And the lessons that were handed to them by politics and religion and ecology of community of wherever you are, the circles of people,
yeah,
and 100 years ago, the world was still riding horses. 100 years ago, it still took
yeah,
a whole family. It took the work of a family to make enough food to survive the winter.
yes,
100 years ago, that was still true. That's no longer true. We're not in that ecology now, but we're all playing by those same rules that were handed down
yes.
to us from our great grandparents. And no wonder we're struggling with those rules because they don't make sense to us now,
That is so true.
right? And
That
we're
is so true.
got to dream, work, get up, milk the cows, chop the wood, carry the water, clean the toilet, do the thing. And eventually you might have some time for you because it was survival. We have to make enough money. We have to make enough food to survive the winter. And when our neighbors didn't quite make enough food to survive the winter and they come asking for yours, it becomes wartime because those parents are going to protect their kids.
Yes.
And it's no more complicated than that, right?
Mhm.
So I wanted to give a shout out to that's for centuries, that's what created the world that we're living in right now. And that's not a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just what created where we are. So I wanted to give a shout out to that history because now the information age, we all have this amazing computer in our pocket that is so strong.
Yeah.
I said, let's consult the Oracle. you know, but the age means that we can have an idea and get validation for that idea
Mhm.
and then expand quickly. Now we're coming back to your question, this dream intending. When I first got certified as a coach and I started seeing clients, I created a healing journey. Okay, let's start in your pain and let's figure out what your dream is,
Ah,
right? Here's the pain of the situation. Here's your dream, your desired reality. And those two
mm,
things, like you say, that's your dream, and here's your current reality. If there's a rubber band and you pull some tension, right? There's tension there. Everything is made of tension.
ah,
You are, I am, our senses, our energy, our thoughts, everything is energy. Everything has tension. And the
mm,
beauty of tension, scientifically, is that tension seeks resolution.
yes,
For sure. Tension seeks
for sure.
gravity is
Yes,
always pulling down. We are the
yeah,
same. If we have tension in our neck, we have tension in our body, we have tension in our fists. It's
yes,
seeking the path of least resistance. So let's
yeah,
trust that process, right? So in that healing journey, okay, current reality, I'm uncomfortable enough to look for something else. I could be in pain. I could be suffering. I could be traumatized. Desired reality, dream. Have you done the dream work? Do you even know where you're going? If you haven't done your dream work and you're in pain, anxiety, overwhelm, hopelessness, nowhere to go, I don't know what to do, and I don't know how to ask for help, and this sucks. This sucks.
yeah,
But then, okay, let's breathe a little bit. Let's find a little relief. Oh my gosh, I just woke up from a nap and all of a sudden I saw a little bit of my dream. And I can breathe a little
mm,
bit. The tension releases out of my neck. I can breathe a little bit deeper. I can think a little bit further and I
yeah,
can start to relax. I can start to touch
wow,
my intuition, my creativity, which is the healing. That's the healing. And in my healing, okay, great. Then I had like all these other steps in a coaching journey. Okay, great. Once we do that, now let's set some goals and let's remove resistance and let's do some energy work and let's do some EFT and tapping and let's do some modalities and let's do all the fun coaching tools that we learn in school. Let's go. But I tell you, everybody was stuck. So many people were stuck because they did not have a dream. They were focused on their pain and their suffering so amazingly talentedly so that there was no room for the dream. So I said, okay, well, let's intend. if we're not dreaming right now, and your suffering is so big you forgot how to dream, or your sacred dream of tomorrow, you're protecting it so far into the future because you can't bear the thought of it never coming true because today sucks so much.
Yes.
That means that tomorrow never happens. Okay, so
Wow.
friends, colleagues, sufferers, clients, humans in pain, let's intend. If you're not dreaming well and you don't know your dream of tomorrow and you don't have a good solution, let's intend to dream well.
Yes.
Let's intend to make space for a happier story.
Hmm.
Let's go on the emotional scale. Let's go from hopeless to angry, because
Hmm.
that's a step in the right direction. You went from hopeless to I'm angry. I'm now standing up. I actually stood up.
Yeah.
I'm so angry. And then we're going to do the work
Right.
of angry because anger is a fierce measure of your ability to love gigantically. If you weren't loving, you wouldn't be
Yes.
mad.
Yes.
So then the energy of angry will settle and then we rise into sadness. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, I was angry because I was betrayed or something I believe in was not honored. And
Hmm.
now the angry settles, and now I'm really sad because that
Mm.
happened, and I'm sad the way I said or what happened or the chain of events. And then sadness, we do the work of sadness and we rise up into shame, which is better
Wow.
than angry, which is better than hope.
Right.
And now shame is because I feel bad. I know better. I've now learned some things. I'm going to do it differently next time, which is where shame is like wounded turns to wisdom. Thank you.
Wow.
Suffering turns to satisfaction. Thank you. Our
Mm.
suffering emotions, our ability to love gigantically. If you weren't loving, it wouldn't hurt. You would have forgot about it by now. Then shame turns into anxiety because anxiety, we don't know where we're going. We don't have a dream to do. And then we're going to go back through the loop of suffering because we don't have a dream. I suffer
Mm.
because I know how. We all
Mm.
suffer because we know how. I don't have a dream, a target. I don't have a better idea. I don't have a plan. I don't have any structure. And I feel anxious. Well, I'm going to suffer again because I know how. And what happens when we suffer again? The repeated pattern of suffering going back through the loop again. Well, our inner body, our
Yes.
biochemical body, tries to save you by giving you a little bit of dopamine, a little bit of
Mm.
serotonin, a little bit of the brain chemicals that we're all addicted to because they feel good, but you
Hmm.
only get a little bit. A survival dose to say you could make it. Your body, your spirit saying, you got this, you got this. The spirit's knocking on the door. When are you going to wake up? We're here for you. When are you going to listen? Here's a little bit of help. But then you activate the dream when all of a sudden you rest, you relax, you can see more. There's more of a path. You get ignited, you get excited. And then all of what
Yes.
happens is you get massive doses of dopamine, massive doses of serotonin. Then all of a sudden your body and your chemicals in your body and your spirit are saying, yes, yes, do more of this. Stay the course, stay the course, stay the course, stay the course. Right? So dream
This is.
intending. Let's intend. If you're not dreaming about tomorrow because you can't, because today is too painful,
Hmm.
one of the most important you could ever do is to call your dreams closer. You
Yes.
know, so I came up with and I was giggling with you about this when we talked last week. Well, where do you even begin? If the dreams of tomorrow are so sacred and today's too painful, where do you start? Is you start making a list
Mm.
of 100 things that you absolutely jumping for joy, butterflies in your tummy, goosebumps, love, 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 love. Liking it, not good enough. It doesn't make the
Yes.
list,
Yes.
right? I know that you said you were going to start this list last week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful.
Yeah,
It's one of the most powerful
yeah,
exercise. Wow. I mean,
right.
thank you so much.
We
From
met.
men. Yes, yes, please continue. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
well, the whole point of that is okay. Like, okay, let's make a list of 100 things. Okay, I'm going to start with the thing. But I could make an easy list of all the things that suck and why. No problem. Blah, barf. Oh, wait a second. What do you? And you have to love it, like love it. And little things matter. Like for me, I live in the desert where there's no humidity, which means the dust rises off the desert floor, which means sunrise and sunset. The sky is blood red. It's breathtaking. Like, it just takes my breath away. I love a cup of coffee. I love coffee. You know, like caffeine doesn't wake me up or put me to sleep. I just think this bitter, hot goodness just, mm, it's favorite. Coffee's on my list. Meaningful engagement, conversations, my nephews, hanging out with children, flowers, lilies, my garden, cooking for
Mhm.
friends, green chili in New Mexico. These are all things that I just go, oh, life on earth is good. Life on earth is good. There's a lot of bad for sure. Are you practiced in your love language? Are you practiced in
Yes.
your love language? I love this. I love that. I love you. I love eye contact. I love that favorite sweater. I love to sleep in on Sundays. I love to wake up early. I love the sound of birds in the forest. I love the smell of the ocean. I love the
Oh,
sound of rain on a tin roof. I love. Are you practiced in your love story? Right? And that list of 100 things, as you keep it on the kitchen counter, don't hide it in your room, don't put it in your bag, leave it on the counter. And every time you walk by it, 100 times a day, yeah, I love that. I love that. I love it so much that it vibrates off the countertop. I love it so much. And what is that doing scientifically? It's engaging our nervous system,
yes.
the reticular activating nervous system, the RAS,
Mhm.
right? And we all have it. The RAS is working in every single one of us 100% of the time. Its number one job is to protect you. It is the major function of your unconscious mind. Your unconscious mind's number one job is to keep you safe. In your nervous system, your reticular activating nervous system, we are absorbing 40 billion bits of information a second. The reticular activating system reduces it down to 50 that actually make it into our consciousness, which so it deletes, distorts, and generalizes everything. Deletes, distorts, generalizes. Now, this is NLP, like NLP is coming into the conversation right now,
Mhm.
and it's deleted, it's distorted, and it's generalized, which means it's warped. It's a version of the truth. But that's the only thing that we can think of. We're feeling it and we're making significant life choices, and so
Mm.
that 50 things, you're afraid, you're in scarcity, you're in protection, you're in survival mode, you're in fight or flight mode. That means those 50 things are going to be looking for danger. And if you're looking for them, you're going to find them.
Yes.
Like if you're looking for a problem, you're going to find it.
Yeah.
If you're looking for chocolate, you find chocolate. If you're looking for sunshine, you're going to find sunshine. If you're looking for that new red sports car, you're going to start to see them everywhere. If you're going to look for that new fabulous brand name jacket, you're going to be like, oh my God, it comes in red and she's got it in blue and he's got it in green and it comes in full length. And look, it has buttons and there's one in plaid. And oh my God, they're everywhere. This is your activating system responding to the information that you're feeling about,
Right.
right? So if you're excited, all of a sudden you're loving, you're excited, you're dreaming about the future, you become lighter. Now you're in happiness, joy, gratitude, appreciation, creative, intuitive, fun, laughing, effortless, limitless. Well, then all of a sudden your reticular activating system starts seeing that everywhere around you instead of danger. Now we come back to that list of 100 things. This is the list that you will design the rest of your life with. And that 100 things is just the first 100.
Mhm.
Because when you make it to 100, the next assignment, do it again. And this time in more detail, with more color, with more texture, with more emotion, with more vibration. And this becomes part of a daily, non negotiable act of self love, dreaming about your future. What could possibly be more important than dreaming happily, positively, thankfully, beautifully, lovingly about your own future? What could possibly be more important?
Wow.
Right.
That is so true. You know, the way you explain, I mean, the importance of dreaming. I think it's so paramount that we bring this out in this day and age because, like you said, like, our grandparents, and, our father's generation, they didn't know. And we were conditioned to don't dream, don't dream, don't be a dreamer, you're wasting your time, be a doer, be a hustler,
We got work to
be,
do.
yeah, we got work to
Yeah,
do. What are you doing? Being in your head, that will not translate to anything in reality. You're just one of those fools who just, thinks stuff in their head and does nothing. And so people, I think an entire generation became very, very, they suppressed basically their very natural desire to dream. And now hearing like, oh, dreaming is that important? Like without dreaming, I'm actually stopping my life. Actually, I'm going towards, timelines which is not going to serve me because what I see in my head, what I allow my nervous system to calibrate, that's where I lead to unconsciously. And suddenly one finds himself in a tough spot, like, oh, so I have to dream, but I have not done that for years, you know? And this, I remember when I first did this
mhm.
100 list, it felt hard. It was difficult to write. I stopped after the first 20. I had nothing to write. I had to walk for 15 minutes and I would get another five. It took me, and I was deliberate. I'm like, I want to do this. Now it comes much easier, but it just tells me that it's not an easy
Yeah.
process for somebody. What would you tell somebody who is, somebody who's listening to us and is like, wow, this is mind shifting, but I want to do my hundreds less, but I no, it's not going to be easy for me. I've not allowed myself to dream. I have been the practical person. I have been the logical person. I
Yeah.
have been like, see what is out there and do just that person. This neural
Mhm.
circuits is not activated. So, what advice would you give them
Right.
when it comes to dreaming?
Well, I want to acknowledge that it feels exactly like what you said, but the reality is we are all dreaming 100% of the time, without question. Now, if we're going to bring in some like ancient indigenous shamanic wisdom here,
Mhm.
there's three dreams. There's the waking dream of the mind, the cognitive waking moment, the present moment. You and I are having an interview right now. The listeners out there are listening to us and they're breathing. They might be driving their car. They might be in a home. They might be in bed. We're having a present moment. The story of the present moment, mind. That's the waking dream. We are
Mhm.
awake in this dream, right? Then there's the unconscious or the subconscious dream, the nighttime dream. And that's the dream of our body. Now, this speaks in the language of emotions, not the language of words. So
Mm.
this is the dream of nighttime when we're asleep. And we all can remember a dream at night that was so vivid and so strange and it left our mark on us in such a way, but we could not describe it at all.
Mhm.
It's like, whoa, whoa, what is the woke up? Just like, what was that? Right? That's the nighttime dream. And then the spirit, mind, body, spirit. We go from the waking dream to the unconscious dream to the super conscious dream, the dream of the spirit, which is the daydream, dreaming
Mm.
on purpose, space to be creative, to access our creativity, our intuition, our possibility, our limitless possibility. Children are masters at the daydream.
Nice.
Like kids, like I love kids, and whenever I hang out with children, they always know that I'm just the tallest kid in the room,
Mm.
you know. And so I always come in and I sit down on the floor and I get down at their level because it is effortless to say, okay, we are going to be pirates in the sandbox with Barbies and Matchbox cars and Star Wars, and we're going to have a tea party under the ocean while we're on the moon in the future. And there's no question that that's a possibility. Let's go. Awesome. We're there.
Oh my
For
God.
sure. And so that's the power of the daydream. And we're told don't dream, focus. Don't be creative. Don't trust your intuition. Don't. artists and cooks and designers, that blank page and a new thing of paint.
Mm.
Where does that first stroke of color come from? Whoosh, there it is. I chose off red and I made up that first S curve in a straight world. Now what? I look at that blank canvas and think, well, maybe a little bit of yellow and I go over this way, and a little bit of shadowing and a little bit of light. And next thing I know, I've got a painting. Or I'm in the kitchen. I don't know what I'm going to have for dinner. And I look in the pantry and I'm not feeling inspired. I don't know what to do. I grab an onion, I saute an onion, and sure enough, something else happens. Something else jumps in the pan. Next thing I know, I'm boiling some water. Next thing I know, I just made dinner.
Yeah.
I created something out of nothing. We're accessing our intuition, we're accessing our imagination, we're accessing our superpower, our super consciousness, the power of the daydream. And so that's why I wanted to say, okay, oh my God, they just told me to make a list of 100 things that I love, but I hurt right now. That seems impossible right
Yeah.
now. That seems so far away. That seems like a bunch of woo-woo
Yeah.
spirituality, metaphysical bullshit. What the hell? Where is it? I don't know how to begin. And
Yeah.
that's why pequeño milagro, baby miracles matter. Tiny steps are huge progress.
Yes.
One thing I love, the cup of coffee. Just, yeah. I love to take a sigh. I love to cry at movies because oh, it's so beautiful. Oh. I love to wake up with my partner before we have to get up where we can just like be together. I love green chili. I love to cook. I love my garden. And then we start reading them all at once, 100 things every day. Like, oh yeah, I just stepped out of my suffering and into my satisfaction. I just stepped
Mm.
out of my woundedness and into my wisdom. Baby medicine, the milagro pequeño, pequeño milagro, these baby miracles. And if there's three tiny miracles today,
Hmm.
chocolate, sunset, and I made eye contact with the person at the grocery store, right? Tomorrow I have three little miracles. In a week, that's 21 miracles. In a month, that's 48 miracles,
Wow.
right?
Oh my
And
God.
the reticular system, our nervous system starts to go, oh, that feels better. Let's do that.
Yes.
Right. And it
Yes.
is baby steps matter. Baby steps matter. Little steps matter. And then we can go fast. All of a sudden you get some acknowledgement, like, okay, we're suffering. I love this. There's a pattern and we all do it 1,000 times.
Mm.
I'm uncomfortable. Wherever it is, I'm uncomfortable. How
Mm.
uncomfortable you are, when did you notice your discomfort? Well, that's your learning.
Yes.
Did you first go, you know what? My spirit said do it now. I'm going to do it now. That's mastery.
Yes.
But did you have to hurt first and then suffer some more and then maybe get fired and bottom out and get in a car accident and get sick? That's how you learn.
That's how
But
you
that discomfort invites the next stage, which is the search. Oh,
learn.
well, what the hell do I do now? I'm going to take a course. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to take a workshop. I'm going to go visit with some friends. I'm going to get some therapy. I'm going to ask for help. I can do what I'm doing now, but I can't do it forever. This is not sustainable. I'm now searching for something,
Yeah.
solution. I'm now looking. Awesome.
Yes.
You're looking.
This is
But because of your belief system and where you've been, you might have some deep-seated beliefs that were handed down to you from your great-great-grandpa's rules about being safe that you're still operating by because you belong to your family. And so beliefs like I'm not worthy, I don't
yes.
deserve it, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable, I'm not significant, I'm not special, I'm not perfect, therefore I'm not safe. And so that workshop that you just took, the new
Yes.
course that you're taking, the book you just started, you don't finish it.
Oh,
How many spiritual books did you buy and
Mm.
open them up and put them on the shelf and never came back to them? How many workshops did you think, oh, Tony Robbins and Dean Graziosi, I want to do that thing, but I didn't do it.
Right.
Or I took the workshop, but I didn't do the book. I don't deserve it. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. You're in the loop.
That is so
You're
true.
still searching. You're still searching. They're still in the search. But then there's going to be something where somebody says something to you and your spirit lights up, an aha moment where you go, oh my God, you looked into my soul and you explained me to me better than I can. Who are you? And how did you do that? Oh my God. I understand. You get me. You just talked about my pain and suffering better than I can. I now trust you. Who are you? What are you doing? And just give me, fill up my bucket. Give me some of that. Now you're
Yeah.
inspired.
Now you're
Now let's just pause for a second. What does that inspiration feel like when all of a sudden you go, oh,
yeah.
yes. Yes, in a world of no, there's a new inspiration. There's a new ignition. Your light came on. Your candle is staying lit in the wind. What does that feel like? Let's know, where do you feel that in your body? Is it a knowingness in your belly, a warmth in your heart, a clearing of energy, a calmness? How do you, nobody does it the same. It's not about right or wrong, but how do you know in your body that you're getting a radical yes in a world that has said no? Where are you getting a sexy S curve in a very straight world? Where are you being inspired to do something different, even though you don't know how? Because all of a sudden it took your breath away. Everybody's attraction is pattern breaking. Think about that first time you met somebody, you're single and you see somebody who's really beautiful, you can't take your eyes off of. And all of a sudden you become your best self,
Hmm.
right? You become your best self. I'm going to take that extra shower. I'm going to shave a little closer. I'm going to put on my best jacket. I'm going to be polite. I'm going to say all the right things. I'm going to hide all of my mess, right?
Right.
Right. When you, oh my gosh, I'm alive right now.
Right.
How do you know you're alive? Your inspiration, your spirit ignites you. You now you have inspired motivation. That aha moment. Yeah, I bought all those books and they were kind of cool and it's related to me kind of, but whoa, what is the, whoa, I can't put this book down. Or that person, I can't take my eyes off them. That energy is the
Right.
same. What's taking your breath away right now? Because
Wow.
that will give you the motivation to do the work. That's when you actually take the action. You do the work now, as opposed to reading about the work. You're actually doing the work.
Yes.
And it makes sense. And spirit shows up with strategy, and spirit's strategy is always bigger, more beautiful, more efficient, and easier than if our ego would do it.
That is so true.
That's why we hear our masters say, don't worry about how, focus on what it feels like to be complete.
Yes.
What
Yes.
does it feel like to have your dream already come true? And then let universe come in and stack the to-do list for you. How do you do that? By following what feels good next.
Yes.
What feels good next? We do a healing. We work with anger that turns into sadness. We do, or whatever it is, every round of healing, something becomes possible that was not possible before. And that is spirit saying, do this next.
Yes.
And that aha moment then becomes confidence.
Mm.
Confidence becomes competent, right? And then we go back around and we go again. Okay, I just learned a lesson. I did the work. It felt great. I now have some confidence and now I have new tools and skills. And now I'm ready to go again. I'm going to learn again. I'm going to suffer some more. I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to search. I'm going to try a bunch of things. I'm going to be inspired by a new thing and go, took my breath away. And it's going to take me to the finish line. And then I'm going to stand on top of it and say, whoa, more confidence, more competence. Because
Wow.
healing is not a destination.
No.
Healing is a spiral journey
It's
up.
a spiral.
And every
Right.
time we're a little bit higher. Every goal we achieve, we're handed the next round of
Yeah.
complications, challenges, problems. It doesn't
Absolutely.
stop.
Absolutely.
It doesn't stop. Mhm.
Thank you so much for
How am I
explaining
doing here?
This is just fascinating. You remind me of something like the hero's journey, if you've heard about it. Hero goes out,
Oh, for sure.
faces the battle, meets the mentor, faces the boss, learns the lesson, comes back again, and then goes another hero's journey, another hero's journey. The ever-expanding journey of the soul has to be this way. It cannot be a destination because as souls, if we are eternal, what is a
Yeah,
destination to something which is eternal? It can only be a staircase, a cyclical journey towards ever expanding higher
right.
and higher levels of consciousness, right? And we're
Yes.
almost nearing the end of our podcast. And I have so many questions, but one question that I would love to explore at this point of time is, something you had mentioned to me about, which is the work that you do with your clients as a coach, you know, and something that you had mentioned is the concept of the tender-hearted warrior, you know?
Yeah.
So would you like to share who is a tender-hearted warrior, how you help them, what is the journey of a tender-hearted warrior, what are their problems, and what do you do when you meet
Well, tell me first, what
one?
is a warrior?
A
You tell
warrior.
me.
When we hear of the word warrior, definitely somebody who is fighting a war, fighting against something, fighting for something, standing up for something, has got a
Yeah.
weapon in his hand. The weapon can be an actual weapon, a weapon can be, a truth,
Mhm.
something like that comes to mind. Yeah.
Yeah. And usually a warrior has a positive connotation, fighting for the
Mm,
good. They're not the enemy.
yeah.
The warrior fights the enemy, right?
Yeah.
Usually the
Definitely.
warrior is standing up for something that he or she believes in, right? And so tender-hearted warrior. I love this. This makes a trilogy. This makes a triad. Because in order to be a warrior, you have to have heart.
Mm,
Your heart, you're leading and following with your heart. You're taking a stand for what you believe in. And you're doing it for people who may not be able to do it for themselves, right? So there's that heart. Warriors have heart. And when we're in the work and the language of the heart, that requires tender,
mm,
soft sensitivity, that
mm,
requires intuition, that requires spirituality, that requires acknowledgement of the human experience. Because if the warrior is fighting for somebody or something that cannot fight for itself because it is invested in survival, scarcity, fear, they can't see out of their own bubble. So the warrior
mm,
comes to say, I got you. I see you on your healing path.
yeah.
And so I will stay with you. I will walk with you. We will walk home together. We will walk each other home. So I love calling in the tender-hearted warrior because the warrior is tender. The warrior is heart, but it
Mm,
requires all three. It requires all three. How can we be tender and sensitive so that we can have empathy instead of sympathy?
mm,
That we give permission for who we're helping to be exactly where they are on their path and not make them wrong for it,
mm.
whoever it is, because that's their journey and their journey is on their time scale and their time scale is none of my business.
Right.
Exactly. So that tender-hearted warrior, the journey here is to call that out from within yourself as we do the
Mm,
work of mind, body, spirit. And that's what I do. That's the foundation of my business is let's balance the energies of mind, the stories that we're telling, body, the feelings that we're feeling, and spirit, the dream that we're dreaming,
mhm.
put them all together. And that is the work of the warrior. That's warrior work. We're taking a stand for what we believe in. We're giving
Yeah.
permission for those who cannot. And we're dreaming
Mm,
gigantically and showing others that they get to,
yes.
you know. And so I love this. Like one of the things that I always say with my clients, and this is a simple little dose of medicine, We all
Mm,
say things like, I need to take that class. I need to do my meditation. I need to take out the trash. I need to take better. I need to eat better. I need to exercise. I need to pay the bills. I need to write that email I'm dreading. I need to. And there's a
mhm,
million things on your I need to list, let's be honest, that you're
yeah.
never going to do,
Mm,
right? But these spiritual, sacred things like dream work, I need to do my dream work. I need to do my list of 100 things. You don't need to do shit, but you certainly get to. Just
yes.
feel the difference between need to and I get to.
Yes.
I get to write a list of 100 things I love,
Wow.
and I get to feel the power of the beauty and the love language that's in there. I get to love myself enough to take a healing step. I get to have a milagro pequeño today. I get to say I love you today. I get to breathe a little deeper today. I get to. I get to read the book. I get to do the work. I get to be happy. I get to be successful. I get to experience abundance. I get to feel better. I get to feel better.
My God.
Just the
The
energy.
privilege. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
we don't see it this way, the way you explain, like that you get to. That it means like the privilege to be able to do all of that, the privilege to be able to dream your 100 things. That is truly a
Yeah.
privilege. Wow.
Yeah.
Before I
I
move to
think
the,
when,
yes, yes,
let
please
me
go
just
ahead.
add one more thing to that. Okay, I'm hurting today and I'm going to claim to the world, I need this.
Yeah.
Or I'm hurting today. I want this.
Yeah.
Well, you're claiming to the universe that you're staying in a state of need. You're staying in a state of want, which
Mm,
means you're limiting your ability to receive.
that is so true. That is so
I
true.
need to, and you may really need to. You want to. You may really desire that. But when you change our words to I get to, the universe goes, oh, that's what we're doing.
Ah,
Oh, we switch from not doing that to doing that. Are you
absolutely.
focused on not doing things or focused on doing things? Because whichever one you're focused on, that's what you're going to be doing.
That's what you're going to do.
So I just want
Wow.
to button up that with that idea. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much for sharing. Now, before I move to the final question, I would like to, request anybody who's watching this till this point, please, if you have resonated with everything that Corey has shared, please, let us know in the comment section. Leave questions for Corey. Corey, I will request you when the video comes out, if somebody leaves a question, Corey will be answering directly. And Corey, thank you
Yeah.
so much for everything that you have shared. Now, my final question before we wrap up the podcast would be, if somebody is watching, on any platform that we are sharing this podcast to, and is wondering, like, man, I resonate with what Corey has been sharing. I definitely want to do my, Dream 100 list. I want to do that. I resonate with that. But I would also want to know, how can Corey help me personally? What has got Corey going on that I can partake in? What would you say?
Well, a couple of things. Like right off the bat, if, scheduling a free call with me, let's just spend a little bit of time together. If you want to go fast, jump on the little link that's in the notes here. This is book a call. Book a call with
Absolutely.
me. It's free. We'll spend a little bit together and we'll just get to know each other. We'll say hello. And then we'll figure out where you're at, what you believe, what's going on, how you feeling, and I'll put you first. No, and like I said, that's not a sales call. That's just an experience call. And that's going fast. If you want to go at your own pace, there's a free gift right here, which is a do-it-yourself kit, a little EFT tapping and a meditation. It's a free gift to you. You can do it at your own time and your own scale. You'll just log in, you'll give me your email, and I'll send you a link where you'll have that EFT session. You get a PDF that tells you how to do it if you don't want to watch the video, and you'll have a guided meditation, which will take you to the tree of your life, which is a beautiful meditation. But if you want to go medium speed, you can join my weekly tune-up every single
Mm,
Wednesday. I'm in mountain time in the United States. And so from 3 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon on Wednesdays, I host a free weekly tune-up, which is 1 hour Zoom call with a bunch of like-minded community who are putting themselves first in this way, where we're looking at what it is to understand the three dreams, the waking dream, the unconscious dream, and the daydream, and the tools to put it together. And I'm hosting that with my business partner, Maria. She's also a coach and she's in Barcelona, Spain. And that's a beautiful way to come and just see if this is right for you. And when you join the tune up, you'll also be given access to my online community, which is not Facebook. It's a go high level private community where the community has access to itself during the week, where you get to ask questions and ask for what you need and offer your wisdom to the community. And so those are the three steps about how to get a hold of me. Book a call with me, take my free gift, and join the weekly tune up. And you could do all three. Yeah, and that's your first steps to come join me in my world, to come sit at my table. And you are welcome. I invite you to please come sit at my table. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Cory, for sharing how they can connect with you, how they can work with you. All Cory's links will be in the description of this video. You can go check out in the link. And even if you're watching somewhere else, a podcast, maybe on Instagram, the links will be in the description section. You can find out all Cory's socials from there. Right now, the last thing that I would like to request from you, Cory, is to share a final message to our viewers. And one message that I would want to hear from you is something that we have talked about is what you mentioned is your, very essence of everything that you do has to do with this two word, which is to love gigantically. So would you like to share a message when it comes to what it is about, what it is to love gigantically?
Love gigantically. We all have a love language, and some of us love ourselves enough to experience it. Some of us believe that we don't get to. I'm
Mhm.
not worthy. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve it. I'm not capable. I'm not significant. I'm not special. I'm not perfect. I'm not
Mhm.
safe,
Yeah,
which means we're not loving.
yeah,
And it's either love or fear.
yeah,
Fear could be pain, love or pain. They are the same thing.
yeah.
Love can't exist without pain. Fear is part of
Mm,
pain. We can't run away from one to the other. That's the recipe for failure,
yeah.
right? We want to desire pain and love at the same time because it is inside the pain that we do our learning. That's our
Mm,
spirit knocking at the door saying, let's get uncomfortable. Let's
wow.
get uncomfortable enough that we actually get out of that comfy chair and we search for the next thing, just like we talked about. We're going to take a course. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to try a few things. I'm going to try it out. And then we find that aha moment that, oh, what is that? I love that. Oh my God, I love that. Is that a list? And did that I love that thing come from your list of 100 things? I hope so. And if it's not on your list of 100 things, put it there.
Yes.
Oh, what's that? Love gigantically. Love is not an idea that somebody else gets to do.
Mm,
Love is what we're made of. So when we love gigantically, we're saying a radical yes in a world that says
mm,
no. We're saying, I'm going to create in a world that is reacting
mm,
because the world needs creation. The world is calling for visionaries and creatives, maybe more now than ever. Creatives and visionaries are inspired by their love. That
mm,
white painting and that first stroke of paint. Where did that come from? Where was it? What in you said, I'm going to create right now? There's something in the world going on that hurts or creating challenge or your spirit knocking on the door because we've got dream work to do.
mm.
That's the inspiration for what just became possible. What just became possible. I'm curious. There's got to be more. There's always more. Here's my current situation, and I've looked at it and I've told the story 1,000 times before breakfast. And I'm going to stop telling that story because it's the same. And I'm going to start writing a new one because
Mm.
it feels better. It feels better. And when it feels better, we get more serotonin, more dopamine, our spirit and our body and our mind all go, yeah, do more of that. Stay the course because you will be challenged. Stay the course because you will be challenged. And it is the love that gives you the energy and the tools and the wisdom to face your challenge, which is your doubt and your scarcity in the same story you've told 1,000 times before breakfast. You suffer because you know how.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that is. Oh, I'm suffering because I know how. Oh, right. That story I've told 1,000 times. I'm going to say no because I'm saying a radical yes to something
Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
So love gigantically is a radical yes in a world that does not make sense, in a world where you don't know how, but there's something in you that says, yes, I don't know, but yes. And the lights in your candle stays lit in the wind. And we are more powerful together than we will ever be standing alone. And that's why we circle the wagons. We come back together. We have circles like this, why people like
Yes.
yourself and myself are hosting podcasts and sharing this information. So those
Yes.
that that if you're out there sitting in your chair and you're hurting right now and you don't know your next steps and you're like, what is going on right now?
Yeah.
I'm going to say congratulations, welcome home. Congratulations, welcome home. Stay the course. Be curious. Wander, and ponder. Be curious. Love
Oh,
gigantically, because that's the mortar between the bricks. That's your guiding light. Yeah, absolutely.
thank you so much, Corey. I will always remember, what you have shared in this podcast, your message to love gigantically, to stay the course, because I think everybody is working on the spiritual path needs to hear this because this is the way, you know. And thank you
Yeah.
so much for your wonderful presence, for being here in my podcast, sharing your journey, sharing your wisdom, sharing your methods with our fears. I am truly, truly grateful to you, Corey. Thank you so much for being here. And everybody who's watching, please visit Corey. Work with him, find out how he is going to transform your life. He has done it for so many people, and he's going to do it for yours. If you are watching this, if you got the inspiration by hearing his words from his energy, and now you want to pursue your dreams, as Corey mentioned, don't stay alone. Connect with those of us who are dreamers, and we are going to show you the way. Walk together and love gigantically. Thank you so much, Corey, for being here. Wish you a wonderful day ahead. And for our viewers, if you have watched this video, follow Corey. All his socials will be in the description. And if you have not already, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and have yourself a wonderful and magical day ahead. And thank you so much, Corey. Hopefully, we are going to see you again soon. Wish you all the best of luck with your coaching, with your fantastic work that you are
Thank you.
doing,
Thank you.
Corey.
And everybody out there in this work, we're walking each other home. So let's do.
Yes.
It. Let's join hands. Let's tell our stories together. Let's reignite our imagination and our dreamers, and let's celebrate at home together. I'm Corey.
Absolutely.
Thanks, everybody.
Absolutely. Bye bye. Bye, guys. See you again soon.